This is part 2 of Glencoe Course 2 Math Lesson 3-4. Sorry, technology decided that it wanted to try to run an update halfway through our lesson. If we look at the top of page 235, at the top of page 235 it shows us another number line. What is in that number line at the top of that page? What is it showing? What is it demonstrating? What? I don't know, you tell me. You have the book in front of you. I'm looking at you. What does it show? What? Okay, it shows repeated addition. Repeated addition of what? What problem are they showing? Okay, so at the top of the page, they're showing how we could use a number line to multiply by negative numbers. Okay. Let's look at, I want us to do examples 3, 4, and 5. Okay? Let's look at example 3 first. Because since we kind of figured out our rules, we don't have to use a number line unless we really, really want to. We don't have to use our repeated addition unless we really, really want to. Okay? Now remember, this is a no calculator chapter, so if you need to do the repeated addition to get the multiplication right, that's fine. That's not the fastest way, but it is a way. Example 3. What does example 3 say? What? Negative 11 times negative 9. Okay? What I recommend that we do when we are working with integers, write the sign of the answer first, then figure out the numbers. Because if we forget a negative sign, or if we put in a negative sign and it's supposed to be positive, what's going to happen to our answer? It will be wrong. Okay? It will be wrong. We either have a positive answer or we have a negative answer. If you give me the wrong sign, it's going to be wrong. Okay? So if we have a negative times a negative, our answer will be?
Positive.
Positive. So I can even write a little plus sign up here to remind myself. What is 11 times 9 going to be? 99. Got 99 problems, but math ain't one. Thank you, thank you. All right. Does everybody understand how we did that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Figure out the sign first, and then we figure out the number. Example 4 looks a little different. What does example 4 show us? Yes, ma'am?
It's showing negative 4, but with
Exponents.
Okay, what's my exponent?
2.
A 2. Okay. The negative 4 is in parentheses. All right. If my negative 4 is in parentheses, that means that the negative and the 4 are going to be raised to that second power. Okay? If it's not in parentheses, then the negative doesn't get multiplied twice. Okay? Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get more into that when we learn about exponents later this year.
Yeah.
But we need to make sure that if it's in parentheses, both parts get multiplied. If I have something to the second power, what does that mean? I multiply it twice. So how can I rewrite this without using an exponent? 4 times 4?
Negative 4.
Negative 4 times negative 4. There we go. Okay? Again, we have to remember that have to remember the negative sign. If I have a negative times a negative, my answer will be 4 times 4 is? You added 16. Okay. Shh. We have to make sure that we pay attention to our operations. 4 plus 4 is 8. But that's not the question that was asked. Okay? So make sure that we give the right information for the right problem. And example 5. What's different about example 5? Yes, sir. What's different about example 5? No names. We're on page 235. What is different about example 5?
It has 3 numbers.
It has 3 different numbers. And what's a more mathematical way that we can say number? It starts with the letter T. T-E. Term. Okay? A number or a number that's attached to a variable is called a term. So we have 3 terms that are being multiplied together. What are those 3 terms in example 5?
-3, parentheses, -4, parentheses, -2.
Can I write it like this instead?
Yes.
No.
No.
The parentheses don't mean anything.
Oh, no.
If we have parentheses that are next to each other, that means that we're going to multiply. If we had something like this, where the -4 times the -2 was in a set of parentheses, then that might have an impact on our answer. But if they're not, if there's no operation within the parentheses, we can write it just like this. Okay? What I do want us to get into the habit of is not using an X for a multiplication sign.
Why not? Oh.
Because our X can look kind of like our variable X, and we don't want that. We don't want to get mixed up. Okay? So let's use the dot or parentheses. All right? So, if we have a multiplication problem and there's 3 terms, we're going to go from the left to the right to answer. So what is a negative times a negative?
Positive.
What's a positive times a negative?
Negative.
So my answer will be negative. Okay? What's 3 times 4?
12.
What's 12 times 2?
-24.
12 times 2 is negative 24?
On this page,
You saw what? What did you just say?
Hold on. What she did, shh, listen. What she did instead of, this is where I said make sure we're answering the question that's asked. Okay? A positive 12 times 2 is 24. The answer to this problem is negative 24. Okay?
Negative 24.
So, the 12 times 2 is 24. The answer to this problem is negative 24. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So we have to make sure that we're answering the question that is asked. All right? You just went a step ahead of me. All right? Any questions? No. Can we use a calculator on this chapter?
No. Yes. No.
I didn't say do you want to. I said can you?
No.
No, this is our no calculator chapter.